Get back to you. Quan Lovett. He was with the Gangster Bloods. What city? Inglewood?
So I was in a branch off. So basically, like how it go, you will have some dudes out of your neighborhood that'll fly out to California because when it comes to the East Coast Bloods, they can't go in California saying that they are blood because it originally ain't started over here. So anybody that truly wanted to be a blood, you wanted to be the terminology real right. You wanted to be official.
Okay.
So
was there some form of qualm or grievance between West Coast and East Coast Bloods?
So West Coast Bloods bang neighborhoods.
Okay.
Versus East Coast Bloods started from a West Coast Blood being locked up over here on the East Coast in New York City.
Okay.
And Rikers Island.
Okay.
So by that West Coast Blood being locked up in Rikers Island, the original founder of the Nine Trey Billies that originated in New York City, them two came together, and on the West Coast, you bang and you represent the B, the letter B, and versus on the East Coast, they bang and they represent the 5-point star. So that's what the Vice Lords fall up under also. So it's basically like they seen how the Bloods from the West Coast operate. It wasn't originally a gang. It was a brotherhood. You protecting your neighborhood from any outside. Basically, everybody had a foundation in a way that they operated and they ran their neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's almost like a position, you got to show yourself to be approved to hold a position. And you got those that's big up in ranks, and then you got those that's at the bottom that's crash dummies. 9 times out of 10, a lot of the youth, that's what they is. You got a lot of grown men that wait till they get 40 and 50 years old and they be crash dummies.
What do you call it again?
A crash dummy.
Crash dummy.
A duck. A gopher.
Explain the... break it down so them that are watching and them that are here, because listen, our idea of a crash dummy is when you see a commercial on TV having a driving test. So this is the first time I've ever heard of an individual that's being looked at as a crash dummy. So kind of simplify it for me a little bit.
So a crash dummy.
It's not a bad description for a false prophet, but you can go ahead. Come on.
So a crash dummy is basically you willing to go out your way to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get in and fit in so bad. It's almost like, for instance, how you and Will relationship is.
Yeah.
You got some that might want to have that same type of relationship with you, but you keep it small.
Yeah.
So you got those that may see how we maneuver and how I may laugh and kick it with you, but I don't play with them. So they want to be able to have that same relationship with me.
Okay.
So they will be willing to do anything to show themselves to be approved.
Wow.
Well, if I tell you, go do this, go do that, you doing it to show me that you ain't scared, but really you scared. But then you got those that's not scared that just want to be a part of what's going on, and then after that they become an outlaw.
Okay. What was your method of initiation?
So it first started out with me. I grew up in Savannah, Georgia. And the east side wore red and the west side wore blue. I never understood. I thought it was just when I was little, I thought it was just always a east side way red, west side. I didn't know at the time that it was Bloods on the east side, Crips on the west side, but then at a certain part of the east side, you had Crips and GDs. So some of my family members, they used to wear red. And that right there was the beginning for me, because I was from out of this neighborhood. I got uncles, my mama brothers, my father's background. I come from a family of gangsters, so I ain't want to live. I ain't want to live off of their name. I wanted to make a name for myself. I wanted to be a boss. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's like I wanted respect for my name. And unfortunately, everybody, it's like you gonna fall before you rise. You gonna go out bad before you get to that point where you rise up and you respect it. So I wouldn't say that I was a crash dummy, but in order for you to get that respect that you demand, you gonna have to crash out. And it's not nobody sending you on a mission. It's you pulling missions to make them boys look at you like he crazy. He'll do anything. So
the more crazier you, correct me if I'm wrong, the more crazier you appear in the eyes of your surroundings, the more feared you were, the more respect you would obtain.
Yes, sir. So when it comes to the streets, you got those that shooters. Everybody say that a scary person will pick up a gun, but you got those that will fight you and they'll shoot you. They'll beat you up and they'll shoot you. But then you got those that's true, that's scary, and they'll shoot you because they don't want to be looking around and watching their back all day. But then you got those with that old school mindset that got the hands that will beat an older young joker, and they just go ahead and just take them old out because ain't nobody trying to get beat up.
Hold that. Brother Raekwon, was it, you said you wanted to make a name for yourself. Did you succeed in making a name for yourself? Take your time, bro.
So the thing is, moreover, my dad been in the truth for over 20 years. Before we even started having temples in Georgia, my dad used to just travel and, he used to always just talk about, the things he used to do. But as a child, I never felt it's just that respect factor that you have. Like, my dad come from the streets. I ain't really was able to have a conversation with my pops till I was about 29. I was scared of him. Cause my dad was real. He was solid. He never played with me. He never been a dictator, but he never played with me. So the reason why I had to make that disclaimer, because it's just certain things I never shared with him. But Pops, knowing where we come from, I went on missions. I went on missions. And, you know, as I hear my father talk to me, I knew what he was saying. I just played crazy. But I know what it's like. We say warm, when we say warm you up, that means shoot you. You know, the devil, you'll get to a place where it's almost like how when you got a child and you tear they behind up for getting out of line. When we say go ahead and warm them up, that means just go and spank you. Like just hit them in the leg or something.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where I like to be a backseat rider. I like to sit the long way in the back seat with the chopper. And I used to be thirsty. I was thirsty. Like anybody got wrong, I was just ready to just, it was almost like you don't know who bullet hit, but you just let go. So it been many a times where late night we'll just be outside and we'll just be like, man, just call somebody. And if they pick up, just tell them we got this or we got that, or let's just pull up around here and let's just go do it. We ain't got nothing else going on. So, you know, you got those people that got good children. But at the same time, it's like he trying to be a gangster and he ain't even got to be. Don't be the main ones that get spanked. Spank mean killed because you fronting. You ain't even got to be doing this. So it's like, it's many a times you just down bad whoever. And when we go to letting loose, it's whoever get hit, that's whoever get hit. And it was times, it got to a point where when somebody go to acting so gangster or so tough, like you can warm them up and just laugh at them for real. Like, you ain't laughing right now. You begging me for mercy. But then it's the devil can get you to a place where when somebody begging you for mercy, it'll aggravate you.
You know, the brother's making a very excellent statement. I hope you're really listening at what he's saying. Because what he's describing is how influential is the power of Satan is upon one's mind and upon one's heart. Shift the whole mind until they love a lifestyle so much they're dedicated to it. Shift the emotions of their heart where their heart is not even moved by what they've done. For someone to cry for mercy until the very cry aggravates the one that's afflicting the pain. I'm listening at what he was saying, and what I'm thinking of is Brother Paul. Apostle Paul declared that he was breathing out threatenings and slaughter. Slaughter means taking the lives of people. But even though at his stage it was sin on sin, sinner on sinner, with Brother Paul, it was sinner against saint. But yet he had the same mentality. So I really want you to pay attention to what he's describing, because many people have never got to that level, and you better pray that you never get to that level, but it also teaches us how God can transform one from one level to another. And this is what I want y'all to understand. It is very important that you understand this. This is why we want to have the conversation, no gloves, no holds barred, because with sin, there's no holds barred, and there's no glove, there is no walking on eggshells. So this is what the truth of God brings to the world, because sin is real. God is real. And one is against the other. Basically, what all five of them are presenting is a testimony. A past, then later on we'll get to the transformation, what brings them here in the present. Go ahead, brother.
Before I carry on, for those that watching, Pastor, I want to say this. So many people, they hate. They hate, but they don't even know what they hating on. Like, I always had a desire, if somebody leading me, you got to be a soldier. Like, when I say you got to be a soldier, like, street terminology, like, you got to be a gangster for real.
Right.
Now, on the flip side of it, on God's side, the reason, Pastor, you a soldier.
Thank you, brother.
It take a soldier to turn against the heart by God's permission. Ain't nobody just want to hear all that. You got to know what you talking about. You can't be trying to figure out the streets and you ain't from there. Like, you can't just come preaching to me about what I'm doing and you ain't seen it. You ain't witnessed it for yourself. So it's like, just to get that out the way, a lot of people look at this, they think that this is a joke. They say, I wouldn't be, street terminology, I wouldn't be sitting up under no lame, no false prophet, nobody playing with my life.
That's right. Amen. Well said.
But street term sucker. I wasn't raised up to be a sucker, a fool. I wouldn't say I wasn't born to just listen to anybody.
Right.
So to be just running to a big church because there's a lot of people here. Nah, I heard the words of God through a soldier. That's what pricked my heart. But back to the game. I got my parents, my biological mother, she's not in the church. But God blessed my father to meet a woman in the church. And she's been in my life ever since I've been about 4 years old. That's my mama. I thank God for blessing me to have a mother in holiness.
Wonderful.
They did their part. They ain't error nowhere. I made the decision. When I go to how the devil do it, you start out as a child, you start stealing candy out the stove. This how he raised you up. You start stealing candy. You start stealing little stuff around the house. Then it go from you doing that to you stealing bikes. Because your parents might can't afford to get you a bike, or they might not get you the bike that you want. But you up the street. That's where it started when you go outside. You know, your parents can keep you in the house or you go outside. When we keep you in the house, you're gonna get it when you go to school. You go outside, you go in the other kid's house, you don't know what they parent might be doing witchcraft, you don't know what. So their parents smoke cigarettes. We sitting here sneaking smoking their cigarettes. You know, that's how Satan gets you. So it go from that. It may sound crazy, but anybody that grew up in the streets, it go from you stealing candy, to you stealing bikes, to you stealing dogs, people pit bulls and stuff like that. Now, this how it happened.
Yeah.
To when you go to seeing these folks with the Jordans, and you going to you might have parents that's not into fashion. Mm-hmm. But I have a father that's in the fashion. My dad like to look nice. So, but the thing is, I was so bad to the point where when I went to my mama's house, what made me go even colder, she brought me some orthopedic diabetic shoes. She got me some Velcro, the ones with the 2 straps on.
Yeah.
So when I go to school, I try to put on some. I had some high water pants, but I tried to sag them a little bit because if I cover the scrap, they look like Air Maxes.
Yeah.
So I knew the dudes that was the type of crew that I hung around. Everybody was fresh. So if you wasn't up to par, you gonna get checked. That's what we say, check, or they'll make fun of you. So it was times where I didn't have what everybody else had, so that leads you to go to this. The devil will do it like, hey, you stealing your cousin clothes. Or you go to the mall and you stealing clothes out the mall trying to be fresh. Mm-hmm. And you know, my dad he'll buy me stuff, but being that I was in a house of holiness, and then when I go to my mother's house, I could do whatever it is that I want to do. Like, sometimes I never see the things that my father brought. Like, when I go down there, she may throw it away and stuff. It was just, I got caught up in the middle of a hate. Like, my mother had a hate for my dad because he moved on to the church and got filled with the Holy Ghost and moved on with his life. So when she look at me, she see him, and it caused her to have a dislike for me because I had his character. Stiff, ain't going for anything. Like, you can't tell me my daddy don't love me. I know he do. So when I went there, you know, I was being taught holiness. But when I'm over here, I can do what I want to do. And being that I was in the middle of a situation through child support, the love that's what led me to a gang. Mm-hmm. I felt like I wasn't getting the love that I desired. My dad was giving me love, but at the same time, I was in a situation where I'm being tugged. Like, I know this man treating me right.
Right.
But when I get wrong, I get my behind toe up over here. So I'ma go and whatever she say, I'm going with what she say.
Right.
But it hurt me because I know I'm lying on my father. Okay. So when I couldn't get the things that I desired to have, and I seen these dope boys with the new shoes on and things like that, that led me to want to get dope money, fast money. 9 to 5 was too slow. So it went from that to that's when the street game came in. When I realized from me doing time, not to take up time, but I know I heard you say I was in high max prison. You know, it started out from me I was 15 years old when I got introduced to this. My dad used to find flags around the house and in much of a way, my dad used to be like, man, you got these around here. Man, you ain't no real blood. You don't know what this is. And that used to provoke me to want to be real. I say that to say sometimes a parent can push an effect and don't even know it.
Yeah.
Because I'm already wanting to be real.
Right.
I'm fighting, beating folks up at school. I'm tough at school. But when I come home, I'm getting a beating. Like, I wasn't feeling that. I was getting tired of that. So every time my dad throw my flag away, the devil hadn't got my mind. I'm like, man, my pa's being disrespectful. He throwing my flags away. So when I go back to school, them boys like, boy, where your flag at? I be like, man, my dad threw it away. They be like, your dad threw your flag away. My dad would never play with me like that. So at that point, that's when the spirit of the devil, he just rising up in me. And I stopped seeing my dad for who he is. Because I wanted respect. But it got so bad till I started going to juvenile. And from me going to juvenile, then the jailhouse came. And when I first became a blood, everybody not blessed to be official, to be tied in with the true gang or neighborhood at first. So anybody that's a real gangbanger, you might not rolled a couple times because you not been up under somebody that was false claiming or they wasn't even official. So after you go through that phase of being up under different people that ain't official for real, then you branch off on your own. You branch off on your own and you basically go find what that was solid. And then once you find that's what's solid, now it's on you to make your position. To go out your way to get that OG position. So in my mind, I'm like, I want to be a big homie down here in Savannah. I want to be a big homie in the Southeast. And I knew it's so crazy and foolish. I knew if I went to chain gang, prison, I knew I was gonna get real right in there. Cause you ain't going to prison talking about you repping something and you ain't that. It's two things gonna happen. Either they gonna give you the opportunity to get it right, or you gonna go ahead and get killed.
So you saying you had in your mind that you was leaning towards just going to jail?
Yes, sir.
If that's what it took to make a name for yourself.
If basically it's like a spirit get a hold of you. It's like, for me, it took me hearing the word from you and God blessing me to be in this for me to break that chain. If I was never in this, I still have pictures continuously on the booking site. And so happened, I was in Augusta. And Bishop Williams, before he came into the truth, used to come and preach at the prison. So happened, I got out of prison. When I got out of prison, the devil hadn't laid so much out before me. While I was in prison, I had an opportunity to be inside the cell with a major rapper right now that the youth know as Lil Baby. And me and him became close. The bond we built was before the rap. So by the time I got out of prison, another artist from my city that the youth know, and them being from Chicago, his name was Quando Rondo. And it's another artist that's named NBA Youngboy. That was my circle before I came into this. So the opportunity was there for me to become a major rapper. Satan had everything laid out for me.
Interesting.
While I was in prison, anybody that's a real gangbanger, you know that Bloods really don't beef with Crips for real. It's a neighborhood thing. Bloods beef with Bloods, Crips beef with Crips. We know that if I get into it with them, it's gonna start in this chain gang and it's gonna be a nationwide thing. But if me and my homies get into it, alright, somehow it's gonna come into a cease. Okay? So when I was in prison, I got tired of going to war with my quote unquote my brothers. Every time we supposed to be a family, but sometimes you might not be able to get in touch with your family, your outside family. So we supposed to be eat. If I'm hungry, you supposed to give me something to eat. That's the oath that we took. That you supposed to feed me. You supposed to look out for me. But you turn cold on me. You ain't my brother. So at that point, I'm like, man, I'm tired of this. So it ain't no connection of holiness for real behind the wall. Only time you going to church for real is just to get out the dorm. And if you do got a little bit of a form of godliness in you, you going in there to try to gain something. But I ended up having a desire. I thought Islam was the right way, even though I had a father that was in holiness. When you behind that wall, it's every type of knowledge of every man-made religion in there.
Right.
So, like I was telling the brother, those are souls in there. Those are prospects that could have been soldiers in holiness.
Right.
But Satan got us in there. So how it happened, you may be in the hole, you may want to read. You know, they got these books called Beheld of the Pale White Horse. You got this religion called Ephi, where you got the Santeria and the Nubian, those that believe in their ancestors, the sacrifice of animals. You got those that's Wicca. You got all of these different things in there. And me, I seen how the Muslims move behind the wall. I ain't became a Muslim because I was scared. I became a Muslim because I seen them boys move like bosses. I seen how they carried themselves and that the female officers was really into these dudes. So I'm thinking the knowledge that they got, this may be some powerful knowledge that God may be in this for real. So I ended up taking my Shahada. And that Nation of Islam bull crap, I ain't a 5%. I knew that didn't even sound official. I wanted to be a Sunni Muslim.
Right.
So the Sunni, when I made the decision to take my Shahada, and I started to study the Quran. And the Quran basically teach you about the Prophet Muhammad. So you had those that was Bloods and it was Muslims, but then it was always a confusion about that because you got those that's Muslims and they move like a gang. But then you got those that say you could be a Blood and be a Muslim because This is a religion. This is a way of life. So it's a chapter in there where Satan got me. It said that this is the religion that Allah chose for you. And at that point, it grasped my heart and my mind. But at first, I used to fight against picking up the Quran because I always believed that Jesus is God. So, but at the same time, me being in prison, it took me through a battle, Pastor. Well, I got so deep, and I knew that Islam wasn't right because they say that you can have up to 4 wives as long as you love them all the same and take care of them. I'm like, it's tough with one. I can have 4, but at the same time, that's what got me too, though. I was like, I can have 4. I'm gonna make sure all of them pretty. But when I seen that these boys was smoking and drinking and doing all this other stuff, I been like, man, this ain't what's going on right here. This ain't it. So I ended up studying E5. And as I ended up studying E5, I started to attract witches. And as I started to attract witches, they always came with a pretty face. And it got to a point where when I went into a woman's house, I sit back and I just look. And I look for their little altar. And when I look in 9 times out of 10, and if it ain't on her dresser, it's in a corner somewhere. I'm just looking for them candles and them little pictures. That's all I'm looking for. So I'm listening to that fake prophetess, Carrie Ann. I'm on YouTube listening to these every 30 minute, every hour fake prophets. I'm listening to all these people talking about, I got a word from God. Like, I'm listening to all of these different folks. And at the same time, I'm trying to define my path and what's the truth. And where it started, when you get lost, it's like you get caught up in that universe where people say they believe in the universe. I believe in myself. So then I started meeting these females who was saying that they of the goddess Oshun and Ogun and Obatala and all these different things. Yeah, them folks from the island, they know what I'm talking about right now. Mm-hmm. Facts. Yeah. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Africa, all that. So what made me not want to go all the way with E5, they say that we believe that it's a higher power, but we don't believe that there's a God. So I'm like, oh no, I don't know about this one. So at the same time, what made me want to gravitate more to E5, because when you in a down bad situation, you will be breaking up basil leaf, whatever it is, you will be doing all type of rituals trying to get money. You will go out your way to do anything to get money. And when it came to E5, they were telling you, you sacrifice this, you sacrifice that, money will come to you, blessings will come to you, all these different things, Pastor. So it came to now. It's not even the game banging no more. It go from the game bang, because every young person, once you get to that point, you're gonna want to escape the game. Now you're trying to figure out define what is my purpose of being here in the world.
Hold that thought. Remember that where you stopped off at. What is your purpose?